What's up, everybody? Pete Peterson here with Dream Huge Realty with my special guest today, Mr. Eric Vanderbilt. How you doing today, sir?
Good, Pete. Thanks.
Good. Eric Vanderbilt is with Appleseed Building Company, folks, and we are super excited. We're getting very close to the finish line.
We are.
Yes.
We are.
Thank you for everything you guys have done. Amazing commercial building company right here. If anyone is looking for not only residential but commercial, anything from office space to churches to schools.
That's correct.
What else?
Ground up, remodels, you name it, we can pretty much do it. We also have a division for fire and water, insurance restoration. So yeah, you can give us a call for anything.
Excellent, love that. Can we go back and kind of give us a story of this here building, this project? Not only for, folks that want to hear our story, but folks that are looking to maybe, renovate a building downtown. What's all involved? What are the steps? We'll try not to leave nothing out for you here, because I appreciate Eric. I put him on the spot here today, and he jumped right on. Again, Appleseed Building Company for all your commercial building needs. But where, let's start from the basics. Okay, we bought the building, and we pretty much gutted it out and did the demo per se, basically cleaning up, stripping everything out.
That's correct.
And then at that point, you need to bring in licensed contractors, correct?
That's correct. This building, like a lot of the buildings in Mansfield and downtown, have had years and decades of multiple layers of cosmetic construction, small time additions, that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you never quite know what you're going to get until you start peeling away those layers.
Great point. So let me start with that. So first we hauled all the trash out. Okay, then we started peeling off some layers. Peeled off a few layers, wallpaper, paneling. Then we got to the brick, okay, on the walls. So you'll see a lot of that downtown. Then we started on the ceiling. There was a drop ceiling. Above that, there was a homemade truss system, which appeared to be sagging, which was sagging, and we thought the whole ceiling was caving in. But it ended up being that those were more cosmetic than anything, not very structural, so we removed those, right?
Yes.
And on top of that, even, like you said, the multiple layers, it's like opening up a treasure chest or something. Right. It's like you don't know what you're gonna get. Above that was a tin ceiling, which everybody yelled at me for not saving. But that tin ceiling was pretty much ruined because the plaster above that had sagged over the years from roof leaks and so forth. Yeah. So let me back up one more step. So the very first thing we did before we called you guys, Jerry Sansom at Warner Roofing. So I would suggest that, right? I mean, if you do get into a renovation type of thing, start with the outside first, check out the roof.
Definitely. First things first, no matter what you want to do on the inside of a building, if you're getting water, if you're getting leaks, it's just going to be completely detrimental. You need to try and seal up the most important aspect of that, which is one, either frontage, your window access into the building, and then obviously your roof system.
Yeah.
This one was a very in-depth situation. When you get to plaster typically in these old buildings, they're a wood lath system, which is basically just wood put together, and then a metal mesh and plaster on top of that. It gives way over time. Obviously, wood moves and the structure moves, and thus that creates cosmetic issues for stopping at certain points. So in a lot of these new buildings, you do need to anticipate, a pretty in-depth stripping of the interiors.
Yeah, a lot of older materials replaced with way newer technology. It's amazing how the materials have changed over years, even back to the roof. It was a fiberboard material which soaks up all the water and everything, and it's just not very good. We replaced that with a styrofoam type iso board, and just a completely new look up there.
Yeah, basically the roof system that this building has, and what a lot of the roofing companies, particularly Warner Roofing, is doing now, is basically what is installed up there now is a rubber membrane, so it's virtually a pool liner. So the roof on this building basically has a pool liner on the top of it. So obviously you can't get much more waterproof than that.
Right. So we secured the roof. Oh, and back to that, this has been a 10-month project, so sorry if we're going a little long here. And Eric's a busy man. I appreciate your time again. You have to encapsulate everything up there. It's just like when you look at a house. You don't want any exposed wood. You don't want any exposed concrete block. Anything that can bring in that moisture, attract moisture. So we encapsulated everything with either the vinyl pool liner or aluminum facing of some sort. So we got all that secured. Then once we had everything stripped out, we had a clean canvas on the inside, we knew what we needed to address, which started with roof drain.
Roof drain, yes. So the question with the roof drain was establishing, do we keep the existing roof drain, or do we have to go through the expense of putting in all new roof drains? In this situation, we ran a camera through the roof drain of the existing one. It needed some minor clean out, but for the most part, the integrity of the drain line was fine. So we kept the drain line, made new connections to the new roof drain at the roof surface.
Yeah, so, surprises around every corner, So then we started on the inside, right? Found some flooring that needed replaced, correct? Just in a few spots.
Yes, so basically the entire front of this building at the street side sidewalk was basically gone. Hanging on by basically, like I said in the beginning, years of additional floorings being added to the floor, all of that stuff kind of working to hold rotted wood in place, where really sound structural integrity of the floor was virtually gone in a handful of aspects of the front of the building. So when we got in here, obviously it was a little bit more in depth than what we'd originally hoped and anticipated because of a lot of that unforeseen rot that was back in next to that. These old buildings, especially these ones with the sandstone foundations and stuff like that years ago, the way they're built, the way that they're connected into the existing sidewalks and stuff like that, does lend to a lot of rot and stuff in those initial areas.
Yeah, it attracts that moisture. We got to do everything we can to eliminate that. It's funny how you see that. Everything was like Band-Aid, 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 over 100 plus years.
That's right.
And really, if you just stripped it all the way down, I got to give you guys credit, man. You literally saved this building. And let's go back to the roof and the ceiling and the rafters.
Yeah. So this building, as you guys stripped it, and then as we got in here, this building, as similar to a lot of the other buildings downtown, had additional story on top of this at one time.
Yeah.
So there was an old stairwell that had been simply framed in poorly to basically let them put a new roof on it whenever that had happened. Obviously, when you take all the interior partitions away, there's no structure there. We're looking up, there was nothing supporting that over the years, so slow sag, so we had to use jacks to try and help straighten stuff out. Obviously, with years of sag, years of very little structural members, you start to get sag. You can only take stuff up so far. We also didn't want to impact too much of the roof drain. So basically, we take new engineered lumber to create beams. We have LVLs, which is laminated veneer lumber.
We looked at the ceiling and there was cracks that were in the rafters that needed addressed. So you guys come in and run instead of replacing the rafters, and some of these rafters are even scabbed in over the years.
Yes.
And so instead of replacing those and replacing a whole new rafter system, you guys went and put a beam, basically running, the rafters run this way, then we ran the supportive beam this way. And what's nice and what they did an awesome job of was concealing all of that. Not only concealing that, but all the new plumbing, everything, all concealed within the office walls. Very clean look. And what we did was we come in and Reining come in and did the spray painted the ceiling.
That's
and
great.
all the walls. And man, it looks like $1 million in here. And let me jump back one more time. You can't just jump in and start working on a place downtown. You need permits, you need an architectural plan first, correct?
You do.
You need an architectural plan, then you need to submit that to the city, and that plan is to be approved for the permits for the work.
That's correct.
Not only the construction, but you need a plumbing permit, electrical permit.
Yes, depending on your scope of work, a lot of these buildings, you have to anticipate electrical at a bare minimum. A lot of these old buildings would be knob and tube wiring, which is basically an exposed wire for the most part, grounded by knobs located in walls. Basically, those are about as, fire susceptible as you can get. So most of the time you have to upgrade all of that stuff. So you always have to anticipate at a bare minimum an electrical permit. If you're obviously doing any type of plumbing, which you would typically do if you're going to have a business, that brings in your plumbing, and then obviously certain structural and building permits.
Yeah, so you got to make sure you have all that in order, and then they are going to want to see, like I said, licensed contractors on hand doing that work.
That's correct.
So we know everything is done to the T and professionally done. So, what else am I missing? Besides finishes, flooring, pretty much you guys, I credit you guys, you saved this building, brought it back to life, hopefully added another 100 years to it.
That's right.
Saved the ceiling, and I tell you, we went on a downtown city tour, and some of these buildings downtown, I noticed, have all brand new ceilings. So a lot of them have been replaced. So I was thankful. It's one of them things, you start cooking on a project and you're like, you see something, you're like, I don't know if we're gonna be able to save that. Sure enough, they saved it. So thank you for that. Thank you very much. Any closing thoughts? Anything I forgot?
No, other than Pete, it's been a true pleasure working with you.
Yeah.
You've been awesome through this. A lot of times when people will buy a building or they start a project, there are unforeseen issues, even for the smallest projects. This one was an extreme case. We seem to keep running into things. Every time I talked to Pete, I felt like I was costing him more money. But at the end of the day, we're very confident in the product that we're going to hand over to Dream Huge Realty, and very excited to work with you in the future, Pete. And,
Yeah, awesome.
And it's been a pleasure.
Hey, thank you, Eric. Appreciate it. Eric Vanderbilt, Appleseed Building Company. Where can we find you online?
Appleseedbuilding.com.
Appleseedbuilding.com. There it is, guys. Huge dreamer right there. Thank you, Eric, for helping us out. You guys know the rules. Work hard, never give up, and dream huge. Let's see.